Hey everyone, Sinza here. Welcome to another Marvel's Avengers video. So now in this video I want to go over all the different game modes that's in the game, including like the different types of war zones. So what I'm doing currently is a villain sector, specifically an elite villain sector, which, involves a boss fight at the end. Now the difference between the elite and the normal is that in an elite villain sector you're going to get a guaranteed um, piece of gear with a perk on it specific to your character. Um, but yeah, I'm going to go over all the different types, what you can expect for different types, specifically the war zone. So when you're at the map, you know, trying to figure out what you want to do, or if you want to make sure you know what to expect when you go into a mission, this video will make sure to explain that. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so first I'm going to go over just the general mission types, the ones that are fairly simple, and I'm going to go over all of the different types of drop zones. So you got the virtual training module, the harm challenges. Those are basically just the waves of enemies that you can do, and they have them the training for each character. So if there's a character that you haven't played, these will kind of teach you what's going on with that. There's the villain sectors, which is not here. Let's go to one. Those are just they end with boss fights. You can tell by the little like V with the head. Elite just means that they're harder. And then you have threat sectors, which are they're basically there's the priority threat sectors. Those are like weekly. They will rotate. So the current one of the current priority threat sectors is Stark Realities. So after a few more days, I think it's up for like 2 or 3 more days, it'll switch to something else. But they are kind of like drop zones. They're basically multiple objectives that'll end in a specific type of drop zone. Again, I'll explain the drop zones in a little bit. And then you have the vaults and then the hives. Vaults are basically you have to unlock vaults by finding a shield cache in a regular mission, such as Stark Realities, and then it'll unlock a vault. And just vaults are just a good way to gear. I've done a video on how to gear up quickly, and then vaults are one of the ways to do that. So if you want more information on that, then you can check that video out. Hives are floors. Basically, you go in, you enter the hive, and then there will be multiple floors. 5 floors for a regular hive, 6 floors for the elite hive, and then for the elite heroic hive is 14 floors. And you're going to get, it's basically just you have different objectives. They're kind of like the drop zones, but they're um, all in one mission. So each floor will give you a new objective that you have to do. And then we have the story, iconic, and faction missions. I put those all together. So like once you do the Avengers Initiative, you'll get Inhuman Alliance faction mission, mission chain, and then you'll have the Shield faction mission chains, and they're just story missions basically for those different factions. For rep, of course, the story missions are the main missions. If you're still doing the main story, um, they'll have that A for story mission, and then the iconic missions are the symbols for each character. They end with unlocking specific gear and other rewards like costumes for that particular character. It's also good to know, and they tell you in the description, you don't have to actually play as that character. It'll automatically select that, but you can change to a different character. But these missions will be geared towards those characters, and there will be gear that you get specifically for that character, even if you don't play it. And now I will go over um, the different faction missions. I'll be showing some gameplay while I'm explaining, not the faction missions, the different these missions right here, the threat sectors slash drop zone missions. Okay, so I'm currently in a threat sector, and again, threat sectors are just kind of like multi-tier drop zones, basically. But starting with the assault drop zone type. So the assault drop zone type is the simplest one. It's literally just go in there and you defeat all the enemies. Now, every drop zone that you go into that'll actually say drop zone, you'll come in a some type of a building usually, and then there'll be like one room or hallway that you go through, until you get to the actual main room. And then at that room is when you do the objective. So assault is just defeat all the enemies. It's as simple as that. So for the next one, there's defend, and this one is sort of like what I'm doing here. You have to. It involves you protecting NPCs. So these NPCs are trapped, and I have to get them out. Other versions of it include protecting NPCs that are fighting and making sure they don't get killed, and killing the enemies to stop them from being killed. And if any of them go down, then that'll make you lose one of your stars for your rating at the end. Now the next one is sabotage, which is another pretty straightforward one. It just involves destroying target objects, whether they be turbines or something else. Once you get to the area, you'll see um, different objectives, just like it was a zone or something or a person, but you just have to go and destroy them. Now the next one, control, is when you have to control 3 different zones, and this one is it's basically there's 3 zones, and as long as you control 2 of them, you will gain progress. But aim will also have progress, and if they take 2 zones over, they'll start to raise their progress. So you want to make sure that you always have at least 2, um, particularly or specifically you want 3 if you want to get the highest rating. So it's just make sure you go to those zones, capture them, and again, if you're by yourself, it's going to be a little bit harder because your teammates can't capture them. The AI companions won't capture them, and you'll have to do it yourself. And aim will go and take the points back, so you have to keep going through all the different points, making sure they don't take it back. Now, Dominion is kind of like Control, but it's just one big area basically. Like there's just one control point that you have to go to, and it works the same way. As long as you are in there and you have control over it, you'll gain progress. If aim gets control of it, they'll have progress. This one's a little bit harder, I think, especially if you're solo, because it's only one area and you're basically going to be surrounded by enemies, and you'll have to leave at times if you don't want to get killed. And you know it's, in my opinion, one of the hardest ones to do solo because you're the only one that can capture it, and you don't always want to be there surrounded by enemies. Now, finally, the last one is elimination, and it's sort of like assault, except for you have to defeat an elite enemy squad. These are specific targets that will show up, and they'll have skulls on them. There will usually be other enemies as well, but there'll be like, I think it's 6 specific targets, and as long as you kill them, then you complete the mission. And these 6 targets will also have these shields on them. It's this blue bar on their health, so you have to destroy, like you have to eat through their shield before you can actually start doing damage to them. And that's it. Those are all the drop zones. Those are all the missions. Everything that you need to know about the different game modes in Avengers. If you liked the video, please give a like, subscribe for future videos. It definitely helps me out. It lets me, do more content. And as always, thanks for watching.